Un. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime Talk with Stef.
Oh,
Crime Talk, Crime
man.
Talk. What you
Yes.
gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Nah, that's
Crime
see,
talk, crime talk.
that is. I wish I had been that like creative because I know that's all. They only say two sentences, but
Mhm. Oh,
really
it's genius,
catchy.
though. It
Yeah,
is completely. And not to mention that freaking awesome background you
I
have.
know. Oh, hi. Yeah,
Shoot. You
getting the
must have
spirit
been
of
busy all
things.
day with that. What do you call that? Graffiti in the back.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just took a picture of outside. Don't even get me started. Yeah, but Happy New Year, everybody. This is our first crime talk in the 2024. Why are you laughing at me?
You're killing me the way you said it. Happy New Year, everybody.
I know, I got. Am I like, should I nickname myself Smitty and put like a cigarette on the side of my mouth? I don't know why I'm
You're
doing.
like, "Rrr."
Well, let me tell you about that, sweetheart.
My so
What happened?
my headphones. Sorry, the way you did that. You have to see it on YouTube.
Oh my God. Yes, this is what happens when we record in the evenings. Okay.
Whew,
I'm in my straight
yeah.
up pajamas. But anyways, happy New
Happy New Year.
Year.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Oh my God.
Oh, and anyways, in case you're running into that beautiful beauty up there, the
Oh no.
little Snow White with her
Oh no.
gorgeous hair. I love what you're doing with
No,
your
I don't
hair.
know what I have like a hair that's like really
Oh, you
ridiculous.
got it. You got it.
Oh
I just saw
God,
it. Wait,
because I'd
I
be
think.
staring at that all day. Hold on. Hold on.
While she adjusts, that is Neen from Fridays
Hello.
with Neen. Hey, Neen.
Hi. Hey Steph. How you doing?
I'm doing great, better than I was earlier today. How are you?
Right. I
Yeah.
know. I'm doing fantastic. It's winding down.
Mm.
It's a nice, very cold day.
Oh my God, it hurt.
Mm-hmm. It sure did. It still does. Because Charlie now likes to go outside to go tinkle,
Oh,
and he literally like knocks on the door so he
oh,
can leave. And I'm like, oh, you're growing up.
oh.
And it's cold. I'm like, it's freezing. And usually, I don't like the cold anyway, but
Yeah.
this is like icy cold.
Yeah, I'm not flowing with it. And I know that I complained for 8 months last year that it was, or maybe
Mm.
9 months, that I couldn't wait for sweater weather. I know I can
Mm-hmm.
hear us saying that, but
Right.
not this cold. Like, where are we? Like Kansas? Or I don't even know. Like,
Right.
this is so cold. Like I'm waiting for it to snow over here.
I know. That's what I was thinking too, because I was like, gosh, it's freaking insane. I don't know though. It's supposed to rain soon.
Ugh,
So,
don't
you know.
remind me. Like, of course it rains when we have a getaway that requires driving. Angel does not like to drive in the rain, so I'm
Mhm,
gonna be very
mhm.
quiet. I won't be, that annoying passenger this time. I'll be quiet and let
So
her
wait, does
concentrate.
she get tense? And is she
Yes.
like,
Yeah, because people are stupid in the rain.
oh,
People
people
are
are
extra stupid. Like they're already stupid enough as it is
hmm
on the road, but like add water or
Yeah.
hail or any of the elements and people are just like forget like where to like what they're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
I
be very, very quiet, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, when I booked Angel's birthday getaway, I don't know if you remember, but it rained
hmm
there too.
Oh, that's right.
And let me just learn not to go away in March and in January, I guess. So,
Yeah, that's
okay.
true. But you know what? It brings good luck.
It does.
And hey, there's nothing more romantic than a freaking hot jacuzzi when it's raining,
Exactly.
you
So,
know?
amen. Yeah, so we're gonna have a
hmm
good old time and just, you know, bond and relax because it's been,
Uh,
busy. It's been like I'm waiting for it to, calm down after the holidays and after a really busy December.
yeah,
But it's been like go, go, go since it hasn't let up. So we're gonna
that's so true.
enjoy our Saturday night,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Aw.
But
Man, and it's to celebrate Roni's birthday.
yes, my puppy's turning
Aw.
12, you guys, and I am
Ugh.
beside myself. Like, I literally can't look at
Aw.
him without crying. And Angel's like, he's healthy. And I'm like, I know, but like, he's not two. So,
I
yes, I'm gonna
know.
cry and I'm gonna be like sobbing the whole day tomorrow. Like, please, like, give me many more years with my baby. Like, he's
Hmm.
everything.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah,
No, but he's healthy and he honestly he looks like maybe like 5.
I
Like he
know.
has a lot of pep in his step.
He
He
really,
doesn't seem like a little senior dog,
I
you
know.
know? He really doesn't. Although, can I mention that post about the old man
Oh
and
my
his
God.
dog had me in tears. But that dog
Oh my
was
God. The
fantastic.
way she like laid like a potato in his arms the whole time.
And they both were asleep. I
Yeah.
was like, stop it right now. Everything about that was just amazing. And it's just like she froze when he picked her up. It was like, is she taxidermy?
Yeah. It was the cute. Why is it that like I feel like the world at large loves grandpas because all I ever see are cute
Hmm.
videos of grandpas and puppies. So like I feel
Right?
like I mean, we're not the only ones that love little old men. Like,
I
oh,
love
they're
it.
so
Because I
cute.
mean, do you ever see little old ladies?
No.
I mean, you see some, but the ones I come across, and I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just my algorithm, but they're over there saying like, "You stupid bitch," you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. No, and then the ones I do see, it's always with their cute husbands, like
Yes.
coming to give them a kiss or putting their tea in reach of them. Like the
Oh,
viejitos are like killing it out there. Like they're so
they
sweet.
are. Oh my gosh. I just love old men.
I do too. I want to like work in a
Oh,
nursing home that's dedicated to just grandpas. Let's
right?
open one up.
Oh my God. I don't know though. I might cry a
Yeah, I'd
lot
cry every day.
and I'd be
So
so depressed.
yeah. No, it's like
Oh,
a that's like why I can't volunteer at the SPCA. We would have like this whole house filled to the brim with animals. So I can't do
I
it.
know that's true because I told my mom to go volunteer at the SPCA,
Uh-huh.
because I was
Oh,
like, because you're not old, but give you something to do, right?
right.
And it's just, and there's a lot of animals that need just some love, TLC.
Oh,
And that was her reason. She was like, no, I would bring them all home because it breaks my heart. I can't handle that. And I go, okay, that's fair enough.
yeah.
I
I don't know how
don't
they
know.
do it, but they're all angels, like
No, for
over there.
real. Anybody that works at the SPCA or
The
even like
Humane
a vet,
Society.
yeah,
Yeah.
a hospital. Oh,
Oh,
no. I couldn't do it.
I could
Mm-mm.
not. I could no, I can't do it. Can't work at a nursing home, SPCA. Nope. And then I was like, maybe
Mm-mm.
I'll go sign up to be a volunteer to like hold newborn babies, the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are like,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, but like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like they're always
It's
like
hard too.
booked. You can't, it's hard to get in. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No,
We'll
I
see
know. Who
what I get
knows?
into this year, but how's your week been? Like,
Um,
how's
it's
waking up
been
early?
it's non-existent, Steph. I don't know what is going on. How's my Bible reading?
Oh my God.
Non-existent. How's everything I said I was going to
Oh
do?
my God.
Non-existent. But you know what? Next year, the new year starts next Monday because nothing has been going according to plan at
Talk to
all.
me. What's been
At
happening?
all. It's just, I feel like I'm all over the place and I haven't been prepared. I've been like wanting to do one thing, but something else comes up. I thought I was working on certain days this week, but I was like way off with my numbers and the dates are all wrong. I thought today was the 12th. It's just, yeah.
Oh,
So, next week, and I don't even know because next week, because Tony and I are supposed to go away ourselves on Sunday. And
ooh
this
la
has been,
la.
okay, but this has been since, the great fall of 2023. Okay. So we've been prolonging this and it's like if we don't use it, we're gonna lose it. So we have to
Oh,
go. Which, I'm excited. I really don't care if I just lay on the hotel bed all 3 days, 2 days, however long we're gonna be there. That's all I want to do.
that sounds great.
So yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. It'll be a good reset next week and then I'll fly into the new year, maybe the week after.
Okay,
Once
definitely.
February rolls around.
You know
Although
what? What?
January still it's still mid-January come next Monday, so
I know
it's
that I really hope that
so
that
long.
means that it's gonna like this year won't fly by. So I really quickly, because you mentioned your Bible reading, it's so funny. I was talking to Angel, I was like, I think this year I am gonna like participate in Lent, like
Mhm.
for real. Tell me why I decided I'm gonna give up alcohol, and tell me why, and chocolate, and tell me why Lent starts on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Isn't that mean? But
like the start of Valentine, like actual Valentine's Day?
it's on February 14th.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to like see like, can I start the day like and then do 40 days like strong? But because and also
Hmm.
I don't remember it being in February. Like I feel like it keeps moving up. I feel
Yeah,
like it used to be in
exactly.
March.
So wait, so when's Easter?
That's the
40
thing.
days from that day.
Exactly. But like, here's the thing. Easter back in the day when we were little used to always fall in April. I'm sorry. I
Right.
remember like Easter brunch and la la la.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, hold on, my Easter. Let's see when it is because okay.
This is odd. Yeah, and I agree because it's just
March. Oh, wait, this one says March 31st. Oh God, that's gonna be a
really.
long Lent. Wait, so then I have April. No, no. Sorry, February and March. March
Dang.
has 31 days in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's right, because it's and February has 30, 29, 29
28.
days.
28 or
It's a
29,
leap
depends on
year.
is
It's
it this
not,
year?
wait, hold on. Is that without the day or with the day?
Let's see, February 24 of 2024. Okay, so we have 29 days, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Dang.
gosh.
Good luck.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I want to like do like
I'll
fun, like
double fist it for you every night.
maybe I can make, I want to do like some fun mocktails to like
Oh,
get me
totally.
through. Like, I know
Hmm.
it's going to be hard because we're going away at the end of February for like a snow trip with some friends. Like we just
Mm.
finalized it and it's it's going to be like 8 people and everyone's bringing their dogs. So it's going to be Toti's first time in the snow.
Oh, how
And then I was like, oh, it's
cute.
going to be snowing. I don't ski, so I'll be inside the cabin and have a glass of, oh wait, I can't because I'm going to be dry.
What
But
made you give up alcohol, which is great, but what was it
because
just like, oh, I
because
haven't
it's
done that?
hard because it's
Hmm.
hard for like I don't drink every day by any means. I mean, I used to in the pandemic days, but like
We all
I
did.
yeah, I am definitely like on the weekends, like I let loose and that's
Hmm.
fine. But like I always feel like crap when Monday rolls around and I was like,
Hmm.
when I go out to dinner, like it's the thing to do, like get a glass of wine, like even if it's middle of the week. So I
Hmm.
want to be able to like order something, like be, forced to not
Yeah.
rely on wine or
Hmm.
champagne. So
No, you could do it.
I'm
That's,
scared.
and I think it's good. I think you'll realize that you really don't. Come mid February, okay, no, end of February, you won't even be thinking about
I
it.
hope so because I'm also giving up chocolate. Now,
Hmm.
I don't like chocolate. I've been hollering at the chocolate since freaking October. So like that needs to stop. Like, so those two things I'm gonna, and hello, Valentine's Day. So, anyways, that's been my like, I've been toying around with it, and I feel like that's something that I have to do
Oh,
just
I
to see
have
if I can
faith in
do
you. I
it.
think you're gonna. You always crush Lent.
You're the no, I don't.
Yes, you do. You've given up cereal. You've given up chips,
Oh, chips.
and then last year you did chocolate too, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't think it like panned
Stuck.
out.
Well, you know what? At least you have a backup. So if you can do the alcohol, you still could hold on to the chocolate.
Very true.
So, that's only half the battle that you
Exactly.
lost.
Do you do Lent like with your okay? Oh,
No, mm-mm. I haven't
okay.
done Lent since my good old Catholic school days.
Ah, okay, because it's Catholic. Okay,
Hmm.
gotcha.
Yeah. So,
Interesting. Yeah,
hmm,
so I was like, okay, let's
I love
do
that. Oh my gosh, that's
this.
amazing. No, I'm sure you'll knock it out the park.
Thanks
It's
for your
just that
faith,
long
Nina.
weekend in February. I don't know.
Uh-huh. With the snow. Let's tune in
Okay.
to see if I actually decide to keep this one. And then All of a sudden I
Oh, I
decide
can't
to give
wait.
chips up or cheese because like I love chips and so we'll see. Anyways,
Hmm.
I'm toying with that. But
Um,
back to
I wanted,
you.
I wanted to ask you actually,
Yeah.
did you by any chance, you might not have because you were in Zumba, but I sent you a post and maybe you already saw it, a Brad Pitt.
That man can do whatever he wants. Okay.
Okay.
I was screaming the
I want to
George
cry.
Michael
Oh,
song,
yes.
him in black and white. He has no flaws. That is a
No,
perfect man.
he is. And I don't care what anybody says. If they have anything to say, just shut up. Because you know
Yeah.
what? He is.
Oh my God, he's
Tony's going to listen to this
gorgeous.
and he's going to be like, what? But
Yeah.
it kept playing over and over and over when I was eating dinner. And he's like, oh, wow. And he's over there dancing to the song. And I was like, yeah, it's a good tune. He don't know why I was playing it because I was
Oh,
like, I literally was in shock that he was 60, which I knew he was in his 50s, but to know he was 60, I was like,
yeah.
what? I mean, but
He
then I'm
is.
like, that song and the black and white and everything about him was just, it actually literally stuff makes me want to cry. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's
Because
just,
he's so beautiful. Like,
yes.
oh my God. I showed Angel. I was like, look how perfect this man is. Like, he has no flaws. It's like my kryptonite.
Hmm.
Blonde, blue-eyed. Oh God,
The
he's perfect.
tattoos.
Oh God, he's beautiful. If
Yeah.
he and Jen ever got back together, I think the
I
whole world would just stop.
was just gonna say time would stop. I hope that's one of my biggest wishes is that I hope she looks at that. I thought it's funny, I thought of this. I hope she looks at that and is like, dang, I need that.
Mm,
I
they're
hope.
they're hot together.
They are. Can't they just
Although
have their Jennifer and Ben moment?
I know, although I really enjoyed her with Justin Theroux, but like,
Yeah.
because he's so sweet. But
Hmm.
Bradley Pitt.
Yeah. The one that got away.
Oh my
Or,
God.
whatever it was.
The one
You
that
know?
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hell. Ugh, he's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
he's
It's
hot.
amazing.
He's so
Yeah.
hot.
It's
Oh my
it's like,
God.
wow, man. Okay, and then I have one more question for you, and I don't
Talk
know
to
if you
me.
saw this either. So I want to say it was at the Golden Globes, but Sofia Vergara
Oh,
and Kevin Hart were filmed behind the scenes. I don't know if they maybe presented together or whatever it was. But
what?
there is a clip where she's standing next to him and she has this like it's a really low dress,
Of course.
beautiful like
Yeah.
always, right? Her knockers are coming out. And then Kevin Hart is little and he comes right up to like right above her nipples, right? And so she hugs or I don't know if she grabs him, but something happens where he ends up putting his head on her chest and his face is
Oh.
in her boobs. And he's like, ha ha ha, like they're just joking, playing, right? So I'm thinking to myself, isn't he married?
Yes.
So we know she's newly single, right? And I'm like, but in my head, I'm like, okay, to me, in the comments, he wrote, oh man, I love you, sis, or, something like, you'll always be like a sister to me, whatever, good times, right? So
Shit.
then in the comments, everybody was like, he has a wife. He has a wife. And then it keeps going. And then it's like, oh, he used the good old sister comment to kind of make it seem like it wasn't as bad as, and I'm just thinking, okay, to me, when I first looked at it, I laughed because I was like, that's funny, right? Because he's so short. And then I was like, okay, then I try to put myself in his wife's shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that might piss me off. And then I was thinking, I can't really blame him because she was kind of the one that did it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think she crossed the line? Do you think she should have like been like maybe his wife wouldn't like his face on her chest, practically kissing her boobs?
I mean, maybe the wife's secure enough to know. Maybe they just, that's he's a jokester and he wouldn't, I don't know,
Hmm.
you know?
I know. I was just like, to me, like I said, I laughed about it, but it was funny. I immediately went to the comments and I was just like,
Yeah.
I knew that's the first thing people were going to say. Because to me, I probably would, it would be different. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know. Because honestly, if that was Tony, I don't even know if it was someone that was even close to me. I
Hmm.
don't know if that might even bother me. I don't know. If it was you, it might not. I don't think so. Because I don't think it would be a bad intention, right? It would just be
Yeah.
like, ha ha ha. But obviously, we don't know how close he is with the wife or whatever
Right.
she is. Um, but I was just like, it was funny. I was like, but people are making a big stink about that. And they're like,
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I
mhm,
totally get why, but also, we don't, I mean, maybe they're friends, like
mhm.
all of them.
Well, and people always look into things, you
Yeah.
know? And I was thinking about that with Instagram. Like, I love Instagram for
Mm.
certain reasons.
The
And one of the
reels,
main reasons is the reels, but the comments.
the comment section's always lit. Like
It
it's just,
is.
it's
I sit
hilarious.
there laughing for hours because
Me
of people's
too.
comments.
Isn't that funny? I do the same
It's,
thing. It's like, oh my God,
yeah.
people, like calm
Hmm.
down.
Or like you notice something in a reel and you go there to see if anybody else noticed.
Yeah. They
Like if someone
always
has
do.
jacked up fingernails or dirty
Yes.
fingernails, is no
Yes.
one going to comment on the dirt
Yeah, no,
underneath your nails?
everyone, there's a huge, with lots of comments underneath that comment. It's
I love it.
guaranteed.
It's made me feel normal
Yeah.
because all these years I always thought I was the only one that thought these things. But no, there's a bunch of weirdos up in this place.
Oh yeah. We're
And it's
we're we're
great.
everywhere.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Anyways, I just had to share those two things because those are two things that I was like, oh, I have to share this with Steph.
Definitely no. And I do have a question because I totally got off topic with Lent, but like okay, so do you think that maybe after your getaway with Tony, you'll try again with the waking up early?
Oh,
Because
for sure.
feel like it's one because I really want to too. So like I
Hmm.
feel like because we've been so busy, like we don't have a
Yeah.
second to like really catch up. And all of a sudden it's like, look, right now we're
Hmm.
recording and it's almost 10. So it's
Yeah.
like we go, 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 go. Like who the hell's gonna wake up at 6 happily? So, let's be nicer to ourselves. Like we'll do it. Doesn't have to be on January
Exactly.
1st, but
Exactly. And like I had even said on my Fridays with Neen, like it doesn't have to be exactly January 1st. Like we have to give ourselves grace. And when the time is right, it will happen, right?
exactly.
And I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't start off the bat, only due to the fact that there's just been like you said, a lot of things that have been going on, and it's just been busy, and it's hard the first of the year. You're
It
getting used to
is.
like the new. I don't know. When you think about it, does much change between? But it's just I don't know
Especially
mentally.
it is, and especially if you're like, okay, I was like putting Christmas, I was like, I have to have Christmas away
Hmm.
by January 1st. So like
Hmm.
that adds a level of stress, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
we'll
plus,
try
you
again.
guys were kind of under the weather, and so were we. And it's just,
Uh-huh.
there's just been a lot of things that have been going on. And I think that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, like, after I get back, for sure, I'm going to try my
Ooh.
best. Even with Presley, it's hard because, she's getting into the routine of school, like getting back after 2 weeks off. And it's hard, so. I can't, and then she had her little headache spell. So I'm
Oh,
like, I can't,
baby.
I'm like, I can't force, like, oh, come on, we got to read the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, honey, let's
Yes.
go.
Yeah. She'd be looking at me like, say what? So, yeah. So we'll see. I think once we get back, it'll be different. When you come back, like even with you guys going away just overnight or 2 nights, it's like
Yeah,
you feel recharged.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it'll be
So
good.
I'm excited. You guys are going this Sunday?
Hmm.
Just the two of you?
Yeah. I
Ooh
know.
la la la.
Okay, yeah, excited.
Ooh.
I don't even know how to act around him by myself.
Oh my God. I can't wait to hear all the tea when you get back.
I'm like, ooh, hello. Like, honestly, it's funny because it's different when we're by ourselves. I mean, and whether it be like, because, if we lived with my mom or not, or press with it's just we're different when it's just us, you
Yeah, of
know?
course.
And I like, do you, okay, so I have a question for you. Do you like hanging out with Kara, just you and her?
I love it.
Or do you like hanging out with her and going out with other couples? Because there's some, like, I feel like there's some relationships where people like to travel
Mm.
with other couples. But then there's some, like Tony and I are the kind of people that like to just, we like to be by ourselves.
Yeah, so do we.
We don't mind going with other couples every now and then. That's fine, you know, but it's not something like we don't depend on other couples to have like a good time. I love
Oh
bonding
no.
with him.
I have a blast with Angel. Like I can't believe that I get to be married to her and we're just always together. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. But
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying, like, because when we were on vacation, like when we went to Mexico, I was like, I think the only like couple that we would be able to like really travel with is Neen and Tony. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like kind
Mm-hmm.
of like you don't know the vibe. And
Exactly.
in February we're gonna go with our friends and there's
Mm-hmm.
couples there too, but it's a bigger group, so we don't have to necessarily like be marinating like
Right.
all the time as a group. Because like
Mm-hmm.
that takes that's where my introverted side comes out. Like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I like shut down and I need to like go read a book and be by myself
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
decompress.
Yes,
So, but
I
if it's
agree.
Angel like in my face, I love it because she
Mm-hmm.
knows when I need to just be quiet. Like she's just the
Mm-hmm.
best. I can't say enough about her.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, I love it. See, and I love that. And because I appreciate my time alone with Tony,
totally.
you know, and I think it's important. Like for me, I would rather, I could travel the world with him and never get bored or
Same.
get just like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore, you know?
Exactly.
Like, and I know that there's some people that not don't like to be with their significant other, but they, because I know like my mom and dad, they loved traveling with other people. Like that was
Okay.
their thing. And I'm like, man, because even when Tony and I go places, my mom's like, oh, you're gonna go by yourself? Like, you know, you should invite this person. I'm like, why? You know, I was like, it's important to have that time alone,
I
you
agree.
know?
It gives you a
It's
chance to like
healthy.
really connect and just
Hmm.
be. So I'm with you on that for sure.
Yeah, no, so I can't, we'll have a lot to talk about next week when we,
Can't wait.
okay. But today is crime talk, and I
It
can't wait to see
sure
what you got in store for
it
us.
sure is crime talk. So I have a question for you.
Hmm.
When you open up your social media
Hmm.
or Google, what's the one name that you've been seeing popping up left and right?
Mm. Oh, crap. What's her name? The little girl that got released from jail?
Yes, if
What's her
you're
name?
Gypsy Rose
That's it.
Blanchard.
I was like, Riley? No, I knew it started with an R.
No, so you are absolutely correct. Like,
Hmm.
and she's everywhere. Like every time I open up TikTok or Instagram or literally anything, any news outlet, she's
Hmm.
there. And it's just I gotta say that I really am like fuzzy, like warm and fuzzy at seeing like how much love and support she's been receiving since her release. And I checked today because I follow her on both platforms. I love
Hmm.
her. She has over 8 million followers on Instagram already and
Holy
almost
moly.
10 million on TikTok. And
Dang.
her comment section is pretty positive for the most part. So I just love it. Everyone's like, yes, queen, slay queen, like you're an icon, you're the
Dang.
moment, you're everything is like love, 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 love,
Wow.
including some of the biggest influencers right now, like everything. So it's a
Hmm.
lot.
Good for her.
And she's been doing like a bunch of press since her release. I think she was on Good Morning America with her husband because she got married.
Hmm.
She's been promoting her upcoming docu-series, which I cannot wait to watch the hell out of.
Hmm.
And she's just like getting her face back in the media after being away for a few years.
Yeah, and she's pretty out there. Not
She's
out there, but like everybody's still talking about her,
the D.
the D comment.
I mean, I was throwing like
Oh,
snapping when I read that. I was like, okay. I
right?
mean, she seems pretty happy with her husband.
Hmm.
They got married while she was incarcerated in 2020. And I really hope that, it's real and that everything like goes good for her. for
Mhm.
her sake,
Yeah.
because she has had it really, really bad. And I just think that she's a good person that
Mhm.
was caught in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
So on today's episode, I wanted to do just a little bit of a discussion, not really so much a deep dive because there's so much to
Yeah.
this, but I just wanted to like give our listeners some background in this case. And just in case that if this is the first you're even hearing about, like, who's this little girl all of a sudden? Because like there might be like people that don't know who she is. I
Yeah.
don't know who
It's
those
true.
people are. 'Cause, like
Mhm.
literally, who could forget her little face and her like, her little bald head, and she was with the big glasses and in the wheelchair.
Mhm.
Who didn't see that image? She was
Mhm.
everywhere.
But I think you said something that was key, is that there's so much, like when this story first came out, there were so many layers to this story that it was so much so to where I kind of got,
Overwhelmed.
I didn't want to read it.
It's a
Like
lot.
it was so much because I was confused. I was like, is she part of this? Like it was just a lot. So I'm glad you're doing this because it'll give me a better understanding of exactly, I know what happened, but kind of, give a little bit more of insight.
Yeah. And there were people back then that were like, was she in on this? But like
Mhm.
the way that like we're gonna go over like some of the things that her air quote mother did to her,
Mhm.
that I don't think that if anyone was a part of something willing, like they would willingly do the stuff that she underwent. So
Mhm.
I think people were like, was she? No, she wasn't. She couldn't have been, like, right away.
Right.
So like I mentioned, we are gonna talk about some stuff. So let's do some trigger warnings for discussions on severe emotional and physical abuse, discussions about medical procedures and conditions, including Munchausen syndrome by proxy, and discussions of violent acts, including the murder of Gypsy's mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. So just so you guys know, that's what's gonna happen today.
Mhm.
Before we meet Gypsy Rose, who I will probably go back and forth and call her Gypsy or Gypsy
Mhm.
Rose.
Okay.
Let's do a little bit of a backstory on her mother. So Claudine Pitre, I don't know
Mhm.
if you pronounce it that way, or Dee Dee Blanchard, as we will later know her as, was born on May 3rd, 1967, to Emma and Claude in Springfield, Missouri. This woman was not well liked, and many relatives went on record after her death saying as much.
Mhm.
And some of the family claimed that Dee Dee would often steal from the family whenever things didn't go her way. She would just have a little fit and then
Hmm.
steal from her freaking family. Other members of the family believe that Dee Dee may have had a hand in the death of her own mother, who was immobile, by denying her access to food. Okay, she was like a nurse of some sort, and she was in charge of
Mhm.
her mother's care. And yeah, she did that.
Wow.
And then later in life, she had to go live with her dad and his new wife. And his new wife's name was Laura.
Mhm.
He straight up tried killing her by putting weed killer in her food, which caused her to get deathly ill and had her bedridden for almost a year. She did not die. She recovered, but she was bedridden for a year. And they were like, Dee Dee did this to me. So, like, nobody liked her. They
Mhm.
didn't trust her. They were like, she's bad news. Okay. So that's Dee Dee in a nutshell.
So she had a reputation.
She, yes, she definitely did. Um, when she was about 24, she became pregnant by a man named Rod Blanchard, who was 17 when that happened. Uh-huh. So, 9 months later,
Wow.
on July 27th, 1991, in Golden Meadow, Louisiana, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born. A little before she was born, Rod realized, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. So he dipped, even though Dee Dee tried really hard to get him to stay. But even though their relationship had ended, he remained involved in his daughter's life, well, as much as Dee Dee would allow it. But he was there. He wasn't trying to like walk out on his kid.
Mhm.
After the split, Dee Dee took her daughter and they went to live with Dee Dee's father, Claude, and Laura, her stepmom. And that's when that whole thing went down. But first, Gypsy Rose was about 3 months old when Dee Dee convinced herself and those around her that Gypsy suffered from sleep apnea. She just got it in her head, like, oh, she can't breathe. She's not breathing right. She has sleep apnea. So she started taking her to the hospital for treatment. She was taken several times and kept for overnight stays because they have to like review you and monitor you,
Right.
see, do you really have sleep apnea?
Mm-hmm.
And so she slept at the monitor, but at the facility. And each time the monitor showed that nothing was wrong with her. She didn't have any sort of condition. She's a baby. Okay, at this point, she's 3 months old.
Aw.
Dee Dee
Can
was
you
not happy.
can you get sleep apnea that young?
I don't know. Maybe like if there's like an obstruction or something.
Maybe. That's interesting, but
Yeah. So she's a baby and she's already like it begins. Um, so she was told, no, your daughter's fine. And Dee Dee was like, no, something's wrong with her. I'm definitely convinced. And then she moved from the sleep apnea and she decided that her daughter had asthma, but that was proved to be not true either. Then she decided that Gypsy was suffering from just a myriad of different health issues. Okay. So, like, she doesn't have apnea, but she's got so many things wrong with her, which Dee Dee decided came from some sort of chromosomal disorder
Hmm.
because she's a doctor all of a sudden. Okay. All right. So she went to med school and nobody knew. So
Mm-hmm.
when Gypsy Rose was about 7 years old, she was involved in a small accident while riding on her grandfather's motorcycle. And the way they describe it, because she fell off of it and scraped her knee. So it makes me think like maybe it tipped over and she just toppled off because she literally just scraped her knee.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a super minor incident, but Dee Dee convinced her 7-year-old daughter and her family that the doctors had given her strict instructions to use a wheelchair because of this accident. Okay. Yeah. When Dee
Wow.
Dee's father, Claude, began to regularly confront his daughter about the way she treated Gypsy, Dee Dee wasn't having it because he was like, we don't like what we see. Like, you need to calm down. That he tried to intervene and she was like, goodbye. So she took her daughter, left the house, and they moved to a suburb in New Orleans called Slidell. I've never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they lived in public housing and paid their bills with child support payments from Rod, as well as public assistance that Dee Dee had been granted due to Gypsy's alleged medical conditions. And I said alleged, and she got money.
Wow.
Okay.
Damn.
By the time Gypsy was 8, her alleged medical conditions included leukemia, vision and hearing impairments, seizures, and muscular dystrophy. She was made to get around in a wheelchair, like I mentioned before, and she had a feeding tube inserted in order to receive food and medicine for all of her ailments. When
Wow.
Dee Dee told Gypsy about the leukemia, she knew she had to keep the facade up and made her daughter look and make her daughter look as sick as possible, right? So she shaved Gypsy's head and explained that she's doing her a favor because it's going to fall out anyway due to all the treatments that she needs. Okay, this
Wow.
is a mother. Okay, I'm going to say that a lot. This is a
Mhm.
mother. This is a baby. So,
That's so sad.
yeah, so Gypsy, of course, she's gonna believe what her mom tells her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this killed me. So for the seizures, the epilepsy, Dee Dee told all of Gypsy's doctors that Gypsy had seizures regularly. So they placed her on anti-seizure medication, just like that, just because she walked in with her daughter and said she's been having seizures like every month. Uh-huh.
And they did no
Yeah, here you
medical
go. Here
exams?
you go, ma'am. Not that I could find. Here you
What
go. Here's
the?
some pills. Huh? Yeah.
Oh my
And then
God. Wow.
when Dee Dee dragged Gypsy to the doctors to be examined for the muscular dystrophy, they actually tested her for it. And they did so by doing a muscle biopsy. And I say the word actually, like with a lot of attitude, because they were literally up until this point taking this woman at her freaking word. So they did
Mm-mm.
some work this time. But that's where it stops because when the biopsy came back as negative, and they told Dee Dee as such, she was like, okay, bye. They let her leave. But before that, the doctor who had seen Gypsy and performed the tests on her, he like had Gypsy stand up from her chair. Like he asked her, "Can you stand up for me?" And she did it. like she was able to stand up. And he's like, if she had this condition, she wouldn't be able to. So he was like,
Wow.
bing, 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 bing. Something's amiss here. Okay. So and then but he still let them leave. They were like, she was pissed at like their findings. Like, you guys don't know what you're
Of
doing over here.
course.
And then
Hmm.
he put in his notes, I think Dee Dee's suffering from Munchausen, but he didn't do anything about it. He didn't call anyone. He didn't like nothing at that time. Okay. So off she goes with her kid. Okay.
And how old is Gypsy at this point?
She was about 8 years old, but I don't know if that's her real age or the age she made Gypsy believe. I think it was her real age though, because it
Hmm.
got to the point where as she got older, she started lying to Gypsy about her age to make her think that she was younger than she really was. Like when she was 18 in real life, she made her daughter believe she was 14.
And I know you're probably going to cover this, but the school wasn't wondering, or is she
Right
homeschooled?
here. I know. So I'm glad I'm really glad you asked. And where is it? Oh, I probably have it further down.
Okay, well, you could get to it when you get to it, but
Okay, yes, I do
ugh,
discuss school because that's an
okay.
excellent question.
Yeah, because I'm like,
Um,
hello.
yeah, but so Dee Dee, so she not only lied to everyone about Gypsy's alleged medical conditions, she also took her lies to the extreme and put her daughter through unnecessary surgeries. This one killed me, Neen. So she convinced doctors to remove Gypsy's salivary glands, which are at the back of the neck.
Hmm.
And the way she did this was by numbing Gypsy's gums so that she would drool. And then took her daughter to the doctor and said she drools all the time. So you're going to have to, like, it's all day long. You're going to have to remove these glands.
Oh
And they
my
did.
gosh, no.
They did. And then Gypsy later on in life would go on to say that this surgery was the most painful one she endured because like the anesthesia like didn't work on her, so she had to endure like a lot of the pain or she woke up or something. Anyways, the anesthesia failed her as well.
Mm.
And then also this surgery caused her teeth to rot and fall out. Yeah.
Oh my God. No, hell. I can't even get an MRI, and she's over here getting all these
I
damn
know.
surgeries.
I know, just like whatever.
Oh,
And then
wow.
she also underwent eye surgery to correct her lazy eye, which was actually the one thing she suffered from. She legit suffered from a lazy eye and poor vision. So they did that.
Hmm.
And the mom also claimed that Gypsy had hearing problems and hearing and ear infections. So like she
Hmm.
had tubes
Hmm.
implanted in her ears to control these infections.
Hmm.
And then there were several other surgeries that she went through, but I couldn't find out what they were for, just that she had to undergo anesthesia every single time. So like she went to on an interview. I think I got this from like an interview she did, and she couldn't even elaborate on it. But I believe her. Like,
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, in addition to this horrific abuse, Dee Dee kept Gypsy's real age from her and made her and everyone around them think she was several years younger than she really was. And because she was essentially malnourished, she didn't eat enough. She was very malnourished and she was confined to a wheelchair. She looked really young. Like I know you've seen
Yeah, she
pictures of
did.
her.
Hmm.
Um, her father, Rod, would later go on record saying how one time before he got to speak to her on the phone for her 18th birthday, this is later, Dee
Hmm.
Dee told him, don't mention her age to her because she thinks she's really 14. He didn't. Okay, so people are going to be like, where the fuck was he? Like, Dee Dee
Yeah.
kept everybody at arm's length, and he truly believed his daughter was sick and was the one person that when all this came out, he was like, I truly believed her. Like I thought like, wow, she's doing all this on her own. And he would send money. He was not a deadbeat dad. He sent monthly support and all that, but he was
Wow.
very like taken aback. Um,
Man.
and then so I'm as you asked, what about the school? Why didn't they get involved? Well, Dee Dee, she kept her isolated, completely isolated, and made herself to be the one person in her life that she needed in order to survive. So she took her daughter out of school when she was in kindergarten and air quote homeschooled her. Now, I'm not sure how much schooling was done since Gypsy would later on report that she taught herself how to read later in
Mm.
life by reading Harry Potter books, which killed me. Like when I read that, I was like, oh my God, my heart goes out to this
Yeah,
little girl.
that's
So yeah,
devastating.
the school had no idea.
Dang.
Um, in August of 2005, Hurricane Katrina plowed its way through Louisiana, as we all know, and destroyed Dee Dee and Gypsy's apartment. They left and went to a shelter in Covington that was specifically for people with special needs. When Dee Dee and Gypsy got there, she told the doctors that all of her medical records and her birth certificate had been destroyed in the hurricane. And when they took one look at, Gypsy, they had no reason to doubt her word. So they helped the mother and daughter relocate to Missouri. Later on, Habitat for Humanity stepped in when they heard about what happened and built them a small wheelchair accessible home. Like they were set up. Okay. And as I mentioned,
For
Rod was
real.
sending payments. He was sending $1,200 monthly payments to Dee Dee.
Man, she
And
was farting in silk.
uh-huh.
I mean, pretty.
Pretty much. And like he would also send gifts to his daughter and everything.
Wow.
By this time, okay, so August 2005, Gypsy Rose became really well known in the media, with her big smile and big glasses. I mean, whose heart was not going to melt when they saw this little girl? So the media like turns her into sort of like a celebrity, and the community around this family like showered them with money, presents, celebrity meet and greets. I mean, I think Make-A-Wish Foundation, yeah, that they're the ones that sent them to Disney World. I mean, you name it, they got it.
Wow.
And in 2007, she was honored by the Olay Foundation and named Child of the Year. And this foundation advocates for the rights of feeding tube recipients. So people that actually need feeding tubes. Yeah. I mean, she
Wow.
she had one inserted, like, so she definitely had one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
But
she
how
didn't need one.
torturous. It's
Yeah.
so horrible.
No. And
Ay.
then later, she's getting older, right?
Mm-hmm.
She would she would start to ask questions, like, especially about her supposed ailments. And her mom was like, you're not going to question me, like what I'm doing. I gave everything up to take care of you. And when they were in private, like, Gypsy would later on report that her mom would hit her and would hit her with like coat hangers too. Like it was
Mm,
physically
it's
abusive as well.
awful.
And then one time she actually caught a glimpse of her actual date of birth. So like they were, I don't know where they were, but she sees that the real birth certificate because she still had a copy of it, but she had or the original, but she had like the fabricated ones like everywhere, like for her medical records, right?
Wow.
And Gypsy was like, "What the hell?" And then she's like, "Oh, it's a misprint." And Gypsy, she had to take her mother at her word, but it was around this time that she started to not trust every single thing her mom was telling her.
Mm-hmm.
So by this time, Gypsy was regularly she was into sci-fi. She was into
Mm-hmm.
sci-fi conventions, where people like dress
Oh
up and
yeah.
like okay, so that was
Mm-hmm.
her jam. So she would go regularly since 2001 and would often go in costume. And I couldn't find out whether or not her mom went with her or if she was granted permission to go alone,
Mm-hmm.
but she went, and during one of these events in 2011, she somehow was able to leave the premises with a man she had met online prior to the convention. And she was caught in a hotel room by her mother shortly after.
Oh
Dee Dee,
snap.
oh, Dee Dee was like waving the
Oh,
fake birth
okay.
certificate in the air, shoving it in the man's face. I'm going to call the police. Like, you're going to jail, blah, 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 blah. Like, she's a minor.
Mm-hmm.
And according to what I read online about this particular incident, many people think that this was Gypsy's way of escaping her mom. Like, okay, like, let me just latch on
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe we can go somewhere,
Yeah.
When they got home, Dee Dee smashed Gypsy's computer with a hammer and told her that she would do the same to her fingers if she ever dared to escape again.
Dang.
And then, trigger warning, she then handcuffed and leashed her daughter to her bed where she remained for approximately 2 weeks.
Ugh.
Um, Dee Dee also
Mm-mm.
informed Gypsy that she had filed documentation with the police that stated Gypsy was mentally incompetent, which made Gypsy believe that the police would not help her if she went to them. So she was
Mm.
like, just so everyone listening know, like, this is where her mind was. Like, no one's gonna
Yeah.
help me, no one's gonna believe me. Am I really crazy? Like, Like,
Yeah.
what? And by the, she's older. Like,
Hmm.
she's born in 91 and this is 2001. How old is that? Is that 20?
20, wait, 91 to 2001 or 2020?
Huh?
What was the date you said?
2011.
Okay, 2011. So yeah, she'd be 20.
So she's 20, but she doesn't know she's 20. Just FYI.
Wow.
So she still doesn't know her real age at this point. So after her 2-week punishment, Gypsy tried escaping again
Mhm.
by shooting her mother 10 times with what she thought was a gun, but it was in fact a BB gun. And the gun had been purchased by Dee Dee when she had chained her daughter to her bed and she showed it to her and she made her
Mhm.
believe that it was real. Gypsy was absolutely freaked out that her mother was going to kill her. Like, why are you waving around a gun? Okay. So, but then she saw it and then she's like, okay, let me just take my shot and then I can get out of here. But the injuries from the BB gun were visible but not deadly.
Mhm.
And Dee Dee, good old Dee Dee, used the incident to her advantage and claimed to anyone that she came across that she had been attacked in the parking lot by a robber. Yeah.
Wow.
So she garnered more like, oh, feel
Mhm.
sorry for me. So Gypsy felt
Exactly.
absolutely hopeless and asked her mother point blank, why won't you let me live a normal life? Like, why? And her mother kept telling her that, you need me. Like, I have to take care of you. I'm the only one that can take care of you. You need special care. So Gypsy felt at a loss once again, believing that her mother was the only reason why she was still alive. And so she stayed. That is until a year later. So, about a year later, in 2012, Gypsy met a man on a Christian dating site by the name of Nicholas Godejohn. And I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. Now, you might be wondering, how did she do this without her mother knowing? Well, she would wait until her mom would go to sleep to use the internet. And I'm guessing she used her mom's phones
Mhm.
or computer since hers was destroyed.
Mhm.
Anyway, this man was no saint by any means and had a criminal record which included indecent exposure. He also
Mm.
had a history of mental illness and was on the spectrum. They
Wow.
chatted a lot and got to know each other over time. And Gypsy, they started a relationship. They started an online relationship. Gypsy eventually confided in her neighbor and friend named Aaliyah that she and Nicholas had planned to elope one day and have lots of children. So, like,
Wow.
that man was it for her. Now, 3 years later in 2015, so they've been talking this whole time. She somehow arranges and pays for a trip for Nicholas to come visit her to Springfield from, I think, Bend, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
to come visit her in Springfield and to meet her mom. She had a whole elaborate plan laid out, which included Nicholas bumping into them on their way to the movies, and they were going to go see the movie Cinderella. And she was dressed up as Cinderella, and he was dressed up as Prince Charming. So it was going to be like a cute,
Aw.
little, like, oh, you know,
Mhm. How cute.
I know. And that's what happened. So they meet
Mm.
and then go see the movie Cinderella. Now, Nicholas would later go on to claim that Gypsy and him somehow snuck out at the same time during the movie, and she led him to a handicapped bathroom stall where they proceeded to, yeah, I don't want to say sexual. They proceeded to have
Ew.
sexual intercourse. Gypsy denies
Bump and
this.
grind.
They sure did. They bumped uglies. She denied it and she said they did not have sex because Nicholas could not get it up. So that leads me to believe that they did go to a stall.
So she knew a lot more
Yes.
than we would think she knew.
And she learned a lot from him over
Mhm.
those years before meeting. He was into like BDSM and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and he would talk to her about it. So
Okay.
they were like,
So it opened up a door of
correct.
many things in her head and
Yes.
led her to want more, obviously.
Yes.
Like, she was just curious.
Exactly.
Wow. Man, that's so crazy.
Yeah. So
I'd be scared of my mom.
oh my God, no, I would too. But yeah,
Mhm.
I guess it makes me think like it really did happen because she didn't deny going to the stall. So anyways, they Where did it go? Because I was looking at something else. Okay, there it is. Um, so anyways, that happened or didn't, but at any rate, the couple was hoping that Dee Dee would approve of their relationship, or of him or her daughter. But Dee Dee was not having it. She's like, nah, she was jealous that her daughter was giving attention to someone else. And she didn't think he was good enough for her. So she forbid him. No, I'm sorry. She ordered her daughter never to talk to him again. And they argued about this for weeks. Okay. Weeks. The boy had already left and went back to home. And they were arguing for weeks. And Dee Dee was throwing things at her daughter, calling her a slut, bitch,
Wow.
whore, all of it. Okay. And by this point, Gypsy had had enough. She'd reached her limit. She wanted to escape her
Mm-hmm.
mother once and for all and decided that the only way she could do this is if her mother was dead. Now, Gypsy and Nicholas continued their internet relationship and began plotting how to murder Dee Dee. In June of the same year, 2015, Nicholas returned to Missouri and checked into a hotel where he waited for Gypsy to call him. The plan was that he was going to go to their home after Dee Dee had fallen asleep and essentially kill her in her sleep. So Gypsy makes the call and he came over. She hands him duct tape, gloves, and a knife, and she went to hide in the bathroom and covered her ears so she wouldn't hear anything. She said she heard one scream and she heard her mom call her name a few times. And she almost went to help, but she felt paralyzed and couldn't move. After the murder, Nicholas and Gypsy, I guess she got over her like paralyzation because they celebrated. They had sexual intercourse in Gypsy's room, and then they left to go stay at Nicholas's hotel. Okay, so they just leave the body there. Gypsy would later state that she felt overwhelmed and excited because she had a chance to start her life over again. She would also have like breakdowns and feel guilty for what she had done.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicholas, he did too. He felt guilty. He was like, but at the end of the day, he did this for her. He was like, I love
Right.
Gypsy. I want to save her and I want her to have a chance at life. And he wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have a life with her. So that's why he did that.
Yeah.
But you know, these feelings would come and go because over the next few days they enjoyed life pretty much. You know, they were caught on several surveillance cameras around town, shopping, having a good old time, not a care in the world.
Mm.
And it
The
was
nail in the
around
coffin.
yeah. And I guess they like after that they leave and they go back to his house. So they leave and go to Wisconsin. And it was around this time that friends and family saw a very disturbing Facebook status update on the shared Facebook page of Dee Dee and Gypsy. And this status read, "That bitch is dead." Okay. A good friend. I know.
Why?
Pick your jaw off the flow.
Shoot, I can't. I did not know this. Sorry. It's not funny, but I'm like, see, okay, I will leave my comments for later because I am irritated right now. I didn't know this part.
I know. It's bad. Yeah. So the bitch is dead. And the people were like, what the hell? So people start calling the house, no answer. And one of Dee Dee's friends, a man named David Blanchard, no relation, he ran straight over to check on Dee Dee and Gypsy. He ran to the house and he was like, okay, maybe they just took off for the weekend. But then he saw that Dee Dee's like van was still parked in the driveway. So he's like, something's weird. So he calls the police right away. The police come and they get a search warrant. And while they're waiting, they're like, well, you can go in, you know, but we can't do anything. But if that window's open, go ahead. So he went in and he saw every single one of Gypsy's wheelchairs in the house, like neatly lined up. And they were like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, did she get kidnapped? What's going on? By this point, like the police are able to come inside because the search warrant had arrived. They go in, they begin their search, and that's when they find Dee Dee's body. No sign of Gypsy. By this time, more neighbors had gathered, okay, because people are nosy and they see crime tape like the one behind my
Mm-hmm.
head, and they're like, what
Okay.
happened? Okay, they
Because
start
I'd
vacuuming,
be like, what?
right? They start vacuuming the lawn and like blow drying the trees. So like
Going
everyone's
for a
out
walk.
for real. All of a sudden, everyone's walking. So they have gathered outside, and one of the neighbors there was Gypsy's friend Aaliyah. remember, Gypsy had confided in Aaliyah and told her some stuff, told her about her online boyfriend. So she tells the police about Gypsy's online boyfriend too. And she gave them printouts that she had like printed out from Facebook, which included his name. So they were like, like their spidey senses were tingling. So they like take this information and they ask Facebook to trace the IP address to find out where that Facebook status update had been posted from. And as it turns out, it was made in Wisconsin. So they roll up, okay? The police in Wisconsin like pulled up and rolled up to Nicholas's house and they raided that house. And Nicholas and Gypsy surrendered and they were extradited to Springfield. Okay. By this point, friends and family of Dee Dee's had started a GoFundMe for Dee Dee's funeral costs and potentially for Gypsy's. They don't know what the hell's going on. But once they found out that Gypsy was okay, they were relieved. But soon after, like literally they blink, okay, news broke out about the real truth. Gypsy had been involved in the death of her mother and that she had never been sick, that Dee Dee, her own mother, was the one responsible for making and keeping her daughter sick. Because of this fact, police were like, stop donating to the GoFundMe account. We're going to investigate like what's going on. So they did. And once everyone heard about the abuse that Gypsy endured at the hands of her own mom for her whole life, sympathy for Dee Dee dissolved quickly. And everyone instead was on Gypsy's side. Dee Dee's, girl, sit down. Dee Dee's entire family did not mourn her death. They all were like, Dee Dee deserved what happened to her. And Gypsy has been punished enough. Not one family member would pay for Dee Dee's funeral, and Dee Dee's own father flushed Dee Dee's ashes down the toilet.
Stop it right now. Dang, he dropped the mic and picked it up and ate it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who does that?
I know.
I mean, I get it, but
I know. Wow. I know. I was like, oof.
But wait, so this leads, okay, so many questions. Oh, shit. Okay.
Ask me.
Just real quick, like, so they knew, the family knew that she was doing this for so long? Like,
they didn't. No. First of all, they saw the treatment when she was living there. Mm-hmm. And then when they tried to get up in Dee Dee's face, Dee Dee took her daughter and they moved elsewhere. They were away. Like the family had no contact.
Right.
Like viewing. Like they didn't see, maybe they communicated by phone or whatever, because that's what she did with Rod, his father. But there was no contact. So they had no idea. I mean, I don't know, unless they turned on the TV and saw things. But then looking at her, you know, like sick, malnourished, they were like, maybe she really is sick. They had no, I mean, you look at pictures. It's like, they were like, oh my God, she really does have leukemia.
So when they found out, at this point though, when the dad throws her ashes down the toilet, did they know that Gypsy had done it? Or that the boyfriend? Okay. So she obviously told them, oh, this is what my mother's been doing. And that is why.
I'm so sorry. I should have clarified. It's because Gypsy and her man were arrested on murder charges, the murder of Dee Dee.
Oh, okay.
So then everyone just pieced, and then they find out like the abuse. So then they were like, oh my God, this is why she did it. Like, it's the only reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they didn't question it because they knew how Dee Dee was.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Damn.
I know.
Shoot. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was rough.
This is a tangled web.
It is too tangled. And then as for the trial, like the county prosecutor was like, I'm not seeking the death penalty for either Gypsy Rose or Nicholas due to the fact that this case was, quote, extraordinary and unusual. They were like, no, we're not trying to death penalty anybody here. Like it's okay. And Gypsy Rose, you know, she had an attorney, and her attorney like got her medical records and submitted them and was able to secure a plea deal for her to second-degree murder. So she accepted a plea in July of 2016 and was sentenced to, I think, 10 years. And then Nicholas he was set for trial in November 2018. And his attorneys argued that Gypsy had been the one to like sort of orchestrate the plan. And because he was so in love with her, he went along with it. And I tend to kind of believe it,
Mm-hmm.
just based on what like they fell in love, young love. And then she would
Yeah.
talk about like everything that her mom did and la la la. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
loved her. So like, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and so he went along with, he was like, oh, I just had to help her. Gypsy testified at his hearing and stated that she did, in fact, suggest murdering her mom. But she also suggested that she try and get pregnant first. So listen to
Hmm.
this plan. She had stolen some baby clothes at a Walmart, and she also stole the knife that Nicholas would later use to commit the crime. That way they had options. This was legit the same trip. She's like, okay, plan
Wow.
A and plan B.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna kill my mother and then we're gonna get pregnant.
Yeah. Like, or we don't kill my mom and I just get pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, so she was like, this was her only way out. But like,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, clearly they leaned more towards killing, her
Mm-hmm.
mother.
Right.
Um, but that was what she said on the stand. So
Mm.
4 days later, this was a quick trial. 4 days later, the jury deliberated for literally 2 hours. That's it.
Mm.
Before coming back with a guilty verdict of first-degree murder and armed criminal action. He was sentenced to life in prison, and he remains there to this day. Gypsy served her sentence at the Missouri Chillicothe Correctional Center, and she actually didn't talk to any media until after her plea was like set in place.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, she Googled while she was in jail about like Munchausen syndrome by proxy to like get to
Mm-hmm.
know like what it really was, because by then she's hearing like her mother suffered from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she researched everything about it while in prison. And she was like, my mom definitely had all the symptoms. This is what she had. And then she even said to like one reporter, like, I think my mom would have been the perfect mom for somebody that was really sick, but like
Mm-hmm.
not to me. She like clearly. And she was asked by that same reporter, like, what made you want to escape this situation? And she like recalled that sci-fi convention incident where her mom like smashes her computer, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
she saw like, oh my god, I'm never going to be allowed to like have independence, have friends, have a boyfriend. She
Yeah.
felt like completely, isolated from everything, and that was going to be her prison right there.
Yeah, she was trapped.
you
Exactly.
know and
Hmm.
she it's just really sad, like when she started talking to her boyfriend at the time about like really like putting this plan into motion, she knew that it was wrong, and but she felt like she had to do it
Mm-hmm.
and just live with the consequences of the action. So I mean, she's
Hmm.
aware, she's not
Yeah.
stupid, and she's not like far removed from like reality. It's hard even for me, like saying, this bitch deserved what she got. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like necessarily condone like murder and
Murder.
stuff, but like, can you imagine being in that situation and the one person that's supposed to like take care of you is the one person that's essentially killing you slowly, like making you a prisoner in your own body? I don't know.
Yeah, and from like the get-go, like
Ugh,
from being a baby. I guess that's the part that gets me is that not that it makes it any different when you're older, but I mean, she was torturing this little soul since they were born to get
baby.
attention,
Yeah.
you know?
It's just like,
Mm.
I mean, and while in jail, so she's doing all this research, and I think she's even a spokesperson for, people who suffer from Munchausen by proxy, syndrome by
Mhm.
proxy, and then she's also a spokesperson for people who like are abused.
Mhm.
So she's trying to like do good. And she tried to like educate herself while in jail. She,
Mhm.
was well behaved and all that stuff. And then I don't know how still, but like she met her now husband, and she married him. I'm sorry, I thought it was 2020, but I guess it was 2022. My bad. But she married her hubby while in jail, and they seem to be happy. Like who's gonna judge? Like, let her live her life.
Exactly.
But they
Hmm.
get married while she's detained, and then, as we all know, she was released just at the end of last year on December 28th, and she had only actually served about 85% of her sentence. One of the conditions of her parole was that she's never to have contact with her ex-boyfriend Nicholas ever again, and I think that's a good thing,
Hmm.
personally. I kind of want to do like more discussion on like his like whole experience, so I might do like
Hmm.
a part two, but because I just feel like there's a lot there.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, like, Gypsy again, like, in my eyes, I think it will always remain, in the eyes of many people, like, she's definitely a victim. Her mother failed her, her
Hmm.
family failed her, her doctors failed her. Like, she was just failed. And
Yeah.
again, I do want to say, like, I do not agree with taking the law into your own hands. Don't agree with like murdering your parent or anybody,
Hmm.
but in this case, like, what else could she have done? So
Yeah.
that's just a little snippet. I
Hmm.
know I've rambled for a while, but like that's just a little teaser. But what are your thoughts? I see your eyes going left and right.
I just I have a lot of thoughts. Okay. For one, um, you asked me that question last week about this. I think it was last week or the week before. And you were asking, what I thought about it and being that, she was released and if I thought, it was fair and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but hearing what you were saying now, I do agree with everything that I said. And I still, I would have the same answer. But the part that gets me is the part where I guess that's the part that's kind of like, how come she took these opportunities to escape, to go to meet her boyfriends for these like sexcapades, I guess you could say, right? Why didn't she take that opportunity to go to the police department?
Because I think she truly believed that they would not believe her because her
She
mom
was
was.
that brainwashed.
Oh yeah. And like her
Right.
mom was like, you are incompetent. You're mentally
Hmm.
incompetent. And they have documentation on files saying as much. So nobody's gonna believe a word that you say. I'm your
Hmm.
loving, caring mom.
Hmm. And they believed me for all
And
these years. And
exactly. And then reality, she didn't file, shit, but like she
hmm
just would lie. She lied all the time. And her daughter, believed
believed
her.
everything.
She's like, who's gonna help me?
So that's a part that I struggle with, but I get it because of how abused she was
Yeah.
and brainwashed that, it's like obviously it's like an abused wife,
Yeah.
that your husband is constantly telling you you're ugly or no one's ever going to want you or the police are never going to believe you, so you believe that and you just over time you just don't even do anything because you don't think you have any way out. So I get that, but it's just like I guess the part, and I understand because there's a lot of talk and there is a lot of support, but there's also that little part of people that are like, yeah, but she still mapped this murder out with her
Exactly.
boyfriend. And
Bought the knife
like,
or stole
yeah,
the knife.
exactly. Like she knew exactly what her intent was,
Yeah.
you know? And I guess that's the part that even though it's wrong, like you said, I don't want to condone murder in any way because that's not the way to go. But it's just, when you hear her celebrate with her boyfriend
I know, or have sex on
after,
their bed. Yeah, I know.
yeah, that's the part I guess and like I said, that was the nail in her coffin. That's if that didn't happen and say she felt remorseful and even went to the police and was like, we just killed my mom. You know what I mean? Then maybe I would say, okay, you know what? Obviously, there's something bigger going on here. She had no way out, right? But you're over here celebrating and they have video of it. And, it's just that's the part that I guess I could see where people are like, oh, okay, that just doesn't sit well with us. I just think it's sad. Like, Dee Dee obviously had a bad rap, and she had a bad reputation for years prior to even, Gypsy even being born. Um, but it's really sad that she couldn't get any help.
Yeah.
It's obvious that even prior to this, she had a mental problem.
Oh, definitely.
And uh, not only did they fail Gypsy, but they also failed her mom.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And I think that's the sad part, is that if someone, like even that doctor,
Hmm.
would have said something and be like, we need to look into this, which is crazy because when it comes to children, in the early 2000s, we were at a time where child abuse was, big, in the sense of, a lot of judges and the court system was not easy on people about that kind of stuff. And I'm sure it wasn't just in California, it was everywhere,
Right.
right? So it's crazy to me that a social worker or a doctor wouldn't say, we need to look into this because something doesn't smell right, And, when you look at like, okay, for example, my grandma,
Mhm.
right? Elders, right? Elderly people, when they have bruises all over their bodies. My grandma bruised a lot, obviously, as you get older because your skin is thin and whatever. And she had a lot of bruising, but even that, the doctor is like, where are these bruises coming from? You
Yeah.
know? And to me, with all these conditions, how no one questioned any of this, didn't even do further testing, to
Mm-mm.
like confirm these things.
That like, oh, that's the
It's,
whole thing. It's like, are you too busy? Are you just like
yeah. I'm like, did she go to a quack that literally was just like signing off every prescription and every diagnosis? Oh, I looked it up and here it is. And okay, like
sounds like it.
it's
I really
insane to
like
me.
it's flabbergasting, really. Like how are you gonna hand over like seizure medication? Like so I can just roll into Kaiser. Like, I guess not now, but like
Yeah.
back then you could just roll up into a Kaiser and be like, oh, like I have seizures. There's no
Yeah.
x-rays or anything done. Like what the
Because
hell?
honestly, that doctor should be investigated to even allow a prescription to even be written for something that hasn't been properly tested or diagnosed. I
Yes.
mean, because all these things would have permit or Dee Dee probably still would have been alive, but in like a hospital somewhere. You know, it like doesn't make sense. It's crazy and it's so sad. Like I do believe and I hope she has like a great life because Lord knows she had the worst. How old is she now? 20.
23?
Okay, so she still has a
Wait,
lifetime ahead of her,
wait.
regardless.
2023 minus 91. Yes, we can't do math here, people. Yeah,
No.
32. Whoa. Flip the numbers.
Okay,
Flip
so
the
she
numbers.
has a lifetime ahead of her, and I hope that she, obviously she's going to do fine. But I hope she gets the mental
Ugh, took it out
help
of my
that she
mouth.
needs
I
because it's
yes,
okay right now.
it's okay right now, but when the dust settles,
Mhm.
and also when you have a lot of fame, a lot of like you're the moment,
I was just going to say
it
that.
scares me. It reminds me of Britney Spears. And it's like,
Mhm.
I hope she has management. I hope she has like
Good
stuff.
people in her corner
Yeah.
because and and I hope and pray her husband is as legit and as sweet and as fantastic as she makes him, right? And I
Hmm.
truly hope. Um but she's in this like bubble right now where everything's great, you
Exactly.
know, and it's all going to come crashing down if she doesn't get the proper help that she needs cuz it's all going to manifest into something.
I know.
And whether it be now or when she has her own child,
Oh my God.
because
Don't
that's it.
even.
That will bring up other things. Like I can't, and that's what I was thinking when you said she wanted to have a baby. I was like, okay, because I'm like, okay, it's one thing about yourself, but then when you have a child and you see them grow and you see them experience things, she's going to think, shit, I never experienced anything like that because of what
Yes.
my mom did to me, you
Ugh.
know? And, she herself, I'm sure, is still a little kid.
Hmm.
Because even when she talks or when you see her in interviews, she's very babyish,
Uh-huh.
and that alone is concerning. Not meant in a bad way, but it's kind of like the Michael Jackson thing where they obviously were robbed of their childhood, and now as they're older are still trying to deal with that,
Yeah.
and come to terms with it. So I don't know. I just think that I do think it would be interesting. Also, I hope they do something to kind of like map out how all this even happened. You know, leaving her and her mom out of the picture, but just the trail of all these people that failed her.
Yeah.
Because it is crazy to me how this happened. But even the boyfriend,
Yeah.
because it is sad to me that he will be away for the rest of his life for something that he did for her, you know. Um, he knew what he was doing, yes, and he killed her. But I don't know, that too makes me, I don't know, like,
No,
did he ever, it's
I hear you.
it's sad. He was doing someone else's dirty work for love.
Yes,
Love makes you do crazy shit.
it really does.
Hmm.
But I
Love is a
agree.
dangerous emotion.
Oh,
It
that sounds
really
like a
is.
episode of Fridays with Me. Write that
Okay.
down.
Because it is. It's a crazy emotion and makes you see and do things that you normally wouldn't,
Yeah.
Like if you catch someone cheating on you, like,
Mm.
you know, when you see red or you like certain things happen, like not to say that I would kill anybody, but I could see where if you're not stable, that your level of like clarity and making good judgment is not clear, you
No,
know? And I don't know, I feel just as I feel bad for him in a
I
way
do too.
because
No, you're right.
it's sad,
It
you know?
definitely left me like, well, how come he didn't get it? I mean, I get he carried out the actual
Hmm.
act,
But he's doing life and she's already out.
living her best life. But again, it's hard for me to like, be so hard on her because just I can't get the victim
Oh, of
out of my
course.
vision.
Hmm. No, and she doesn't have the maturity to really be able to like deal with things in a way that we would, right?
Right.
That's more, what's the word, like level-headed,
Right.
but I don't know, this is good. I really enjoyed this because it did answer a lot of things for me. Because I'm telling you, my eyes were going cross-eyed everywhere when this first came out. It was to where I had to step away
I know.
because I was just like, for one, I didn't like her name.
I know. Oh, I forgot to say, like, her name actually, it's funny. So Gypsy was Dee Dee's, she thought that name was so gorgeous, but Rod picked Rose out because he was
Mm.
fond of the band Guns N' Roses.
Of
Can't
course he
believe I
was.
almost forgot to say that, Jen.
Oh God. I wasn't a fan of her name. So I kind of was just like, this, and I didn't, but it's crazy to me to think that she was sentenced in 2016.
Yeah.
How did we not talk about this while wallowing in our
I
sorrows?
don't know. I know, because yeah, I know. Crazy, right?
Yeah,
Because we
but
were wallowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We had other fish to fry. But anyways, this is fantastic stuff. I loved this
Oh,
episode of the first episode of the new year of
oh
Crime Talk with Steph.
yeah. Thank you, Neen.
This
Thank
is
you
great.
so much for just hanging out with me and just I love your insight and especially when we cover things with like from a mom. I like your mom's perspective, like your
Hmm.
maternal, because you can also view it as a daughter too. So I really appreciate that. I mean, always your input, but also that aspect. So thank you.
Hmm.
Oh, did you hear that? She's growling. She's
See,
throwing
she
around my,
knows.
yeah, she's throwing around my toy. Like, oh,
She
okay.
knows. She's like, hurry up, bitch. Real quick though, I didn't realize Munchausen syndrome is actually it's super rare.
Yes. Yeah. Had you heard of that? like prior to this case? Because
Yes.
I heard of it. You know, want to know how I heard of it was at Law and Order SVU.
Okay. See, and I had heard about it when I worked in the court because there was a few cases
Oh,
where
interesting.
this had transpired. Not obviously to this extent, but um little things like, like mothers that pinch or hurt their kids.
Yes.
That kind of thing too is
Ugh.
crazy. But it's only about 1% meet the criteria for having this. So it's very
It's very like rare. And also now it's known as facetious or
Mhm.
facetious disorder. Um,
Why did they change the
I don't
name?
know because I've never heard of that ever.
Yeah, that is so crazy. And that's nuts. And who knows, she probably didn't even know she had a problem.
Probably not because they really believe that they're a victim. Like they're
Mhm.
like, oh my God. And they have to be like needed and all
But
that.
see, that just shows like it's crazy because people get addicted to those feelings
Mhm.
of people feeling sorry for you and you like the
Yes.
attention, you
I
know?
mean, exactly. I mean, look at how she took the being shot by a BB gun. She turned it into a positive for her.
Right? Dang. I mean, I gotta give it to her. She was pretty creative.
Yeah. Yeah. She's thought of some crazy shit.
Wow. But no, phenomenal job, Steph.
Thank you,
Round of
doll
applause.
face.
Yes.
Thank you, cuteness. Oh my gosh. Thank you, thank
Uh,
you, thank you. And thank you,
uh,
everybody, for tuning in tonight and listening to us go on. And I can't wait for next week because next week we have a fresh episode of Totally 90s. And then we have a
mhm.
fresh episode of Fridays with Neen. And she's going to come back all refreshed from her little
Okay.
romantic getaway. So maybe we'll get a little romantic
Footloose and fancy
episode.
free. Okay. Shoot.
I can't wait.
Maybe next week's topic will be, I don't know.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to see something gross.
I was. But then I decided not to.
Thank you. Thank you for sparing my ears.
Oh, no problem.
Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will
Mhm.
catch you on the flip side.
Oh, yeah. Peace out, buddies. Whoop, whoop.